Drones are drawing the world closer to an all-out global hot war scenario, the big jump. It's not rocket science. At some point, the CRINKs will conclude that the cost of launching Operation Spiderweb, like attacks on their Western foes, will be low enough to be worthwhile. And if they all attack at once, they will be able to overwhelm the US. Imagine China invading Taiwan, North Korea bombing South Korea, Russia rolling tanks on Kiev, and Iran laying siege to Tel Aviv, all simultaneously. That's not only an increasing possibility at this stage of low cost, low effort drone warfare, it's also the definition of World War III. A number of interconnected conflicts, each of which affect the conflicts elsewhere on the global battlefield. This isn't some vague notion of a speculative potential threat far off in the nebulous future. We are told, for example, that both China and Taiwan are ready, watching and learning from the Ukraine-Russia conflict, and with modern drone technology in mind, are adjusting their respective plans for China's potential invasion of Taiwan. The World War III scenario that is coming into view will be a largely phony struggle between opposition forces controlled by the same globalist oligarchs. But the slaughter and bloodshed that comes with it will be very real. And what better tool for sowing confusion and spreading panic could the globalist puppeteering this conflict ask for than unmanned and potentially autonomous aerial vehicles? Imagine swarms of drones appearing out of nowhere, inflicting mass casualties, then flying away. Who is controlling them? Where did they come from? Where will they appear next? Who knows? But be afraid. Why, Canada was just ranked one of the worst places to live in the world. I did not plan to move to Colombia because during my entire lifetime, Colombia had a terrible reputation centered on drugs. However, my soul knew exactly where I needed to relocate. She also created this amazing property with a waterfall and surrounded by a large stream. This is confirmation for me. The mind is incapable of creating. Only the soul can create. When I unconditionally surrender to my soul, everything simply falls into a perfect order. First day of medical school. A patient cured is a customer lost. In case you didn't know, a 2 megawatt windmill is made up of 260 tons of steel that required 300 tons of iron ore and 700 tons of cooking coal, all mined, transported, and produced by hydrocarbons. A windmill could spin until it falls apart and never generate as much energy as was invested in building it. Give me liberty or give me death. Unless there's a virus with a 99% recovery rate, in which case strip me of my freedoms, my job, my constitutional rights, and put me under house arrest. I no longer identify with any labels. Ukrainian, Canadian, dentist, mother, daughter, sister, wife, and so on. I am infinite love, dies tati. Unfortunately, even individuals who are waking up do not understand what is happening. Humanity is being bombarded with tragedies, more and more every day, But most people are still trying to find a solution inside this rotten system. Humanity is at a monumental dead end. This is an evolutionary crisis. It is the end of the human species, the end of the intelligent animal. Each individual must take the decision to stop participating and feeding this horrible illusion, which we believe to be our reality. It is time to dream very hard about the next step, the new eidesic species. This body of mine has to last at all costs, because transformation happens inside of the body, inside of each and every cell of the body. I have no intentions of returning into this simulation game and starting over with a new body. Please watch my video. We are in a Monopoly type simulation game. Let's break through the dome into prime Earth. Infinite love. Booklet number 1 of Personal Creation, Evolution Towards the New Species. This booklet was published in French and English in 2008 and in Spanish in 2009. WWIII updated this booklet in 2020 in French and in 2021 in English. I received the English booklet in 2025, and therefore I now only need to translate this booklet into Spanish. Please share this information with awakening individuals. Booklet number 1 of Personal Creation, Evolution Towards the New Species. Pages 46 and 47. I, human being, believe that I'm a fish, a tiny goldfish in a bowl. For the past while, the water level has gone down. The color of the water is turning greenish. Piles of excrement and dead fish bodies have accumulated on the bottom. Food is getting scarce, and breathing is becoming increasingly difficult. Things are not good. As long as I didn't suffer too much, there were no questions asked. I would swim around clockwise during the week, and every weekend I would go around counterclockwise. Nothing like change to brighten up your day. Nowadays, this little pleasure is not enough to bring me satisfaction. Life in the fishbowl has become so infernal that I am now dreaming about much bigger accomplishments. I want to jump out of the fishbowl. The problem is that I don't dare to. I'm really scared. Will I be able to breathe? Will there be food? Will a predator gobble me up for his lunch? These troubling questions disturb my dreams. The day I decide to finally jump out of the old bowl, I discover that I'm not a fish, and there's no fishbowl. It was an illusion, a nightmare. I had to wake up, believe in it, and take the big leap into the unknown of the new species. Only when I'm out of the fishbowl can I see the absurdity of life in the fishbowl. Like the butterfly watching the caterpillars crawling on their branches, and like the bird flying over the desert watching the little lizards hidden under the rocks. When I jump out of the fishbowl, there's no guarantee of success, and that is what makes it so scary. But as long as I refuse to jump out, I can't find out if my dream can come true. That is what the big jump is all about. It's a leap into the unknown, right over the abyss. The only thing that can push me there is never-ending suffering, and the impression that I'm heading towards a monumental dead end. I jump out when I'm back up against the wall, or when I touch the bottom of the barrel. Going back to traditions will not give me anything. There is no going back. You can't improve the rot. I need a completely new solution, the opposite of what has prevailed in the past and which has engendered corruption at all levels for millennia. When I look at nature, I see that life has a direction, from the inside out. The flowers grow from the center to the periphery, trees from the invisible root to the visible branches and leaves. So it is with the spiral of Fibonacci that inspires the so-called sacred architecture. It rotates clockwise, from unity to infinity. As for us humans, the same order applies, to evolve from the invisible inside to the visible exterior. In concrete terms, this means giving priority to the spirit over matter, to being over having, to the essence over existence, to the soul over the body, to the what over the how, to the process over the result, to the individual over the community, etc. This manner ensures order, harmony, beauty, peace, health to infinity. On the other hand, when we proceed in the opposite direction, we obtain the opposite results, namely disorder or even chaos, disharmony, ugliness, war, disease, until ultimately death. Instead of growing, we gradually shrink progressively until we are annihilated. It is in this nonsense that we have been evolving for centuries, and this is how we have come to create hell on earth, with corruption from top to bottom at all levels, from the rulers to the governed. In the name of the end justifies the means, the common good prevails over that of the individual. I would like to, but I have no choice. I must first feed my family. The disease is caused by external germs, etc. We strive to give priority to the outside over the inside, to our having over our being, to our survival over our life, with the catastrophic consequences we are experiencing. Since the transition from one species to another only occurs in response to a difficult environment, it becomes clear that the current global situation has reached a point of no return. Don't cry. We must rejoice. That is how evolution works. It never regresses. At the same time, I realized that what I call life was ultimately a dismal survival in hell on earth, the waiting room for death. My entire evolutionary process has only one ultimate goal: to discover real life and enable its fulfillment on earth. To do so, I had to grow in consciousness until the day when I decided, of my own free will, to abandon the old survival program, to know immortality, life without death. Infinite love. From millennium slavery to individual sovereignty. Let's rejoice, because the insanity we are experiencing is an illusion, which is pushing more and more of us to awaken. Our world is in an evolutionary crisis, because the human mind is ready to go beyond rational intelligence to a greater consciousness. In the Orient, in the 20th century, Sri Aurobindo and the Mother discovered and anchored truth consciousness, the supramental consciousness in the earthly atmosphere. Since then, the supramental consciousness has been operational on Earth as an active evolutionary power. Once well anchored, the new consciousness was ready to move on to the next stage, its popularization and propagation. In the West, in the 21st century, emerged personal creation. Sri Aurobindo synthesized the Eastern and Western ideas of evolution and boldly declared that humans are transitional beings. They're not final. Evolution continues, and humans will be surpassed. This is the future awaiting humanity. This is an unprecedented adventure of consciousness on Earth. One single and sincere look at the present world situation is enough to convince us that it has reached the point of no return. Let's stop repeating our obsolete ways, which can only bring more suffering. Let us all spread the contagion of infinite love. In these times of irremediable dissolution of the illusion, let us keep our faith ardent with an unfailing sincerity. We must choose our soul at all costs. Infinite love.